everyone who is live, and hello everybody watching the replay. Happy Tuesday. Let me get everything all set up, make sure that you can hear me, make sure that I can see the comments, all of those wonderful things. Hello. Okay, I can see your comments. Hi. I love all of you that are like, here's what I'm drinking. You already know what I'm gonna ask you. That I'm gonna ask you, what are you having to drink this Tuesday evening, maybe afternoon if you're further on the West Coast. Maybe it's already super late, or our friends over in Australia where it's already tomorrow. I am just drinking water. You guys, well, hold on. Before I pick up the cup that has the water I'm actually drinking, let's just talk about how massive this is. Like, this thing is so freaking huge. It's so big. Head for scale, but I'm loving it. I'm definitely behind because it looks like I'm right on schedule, right? I'm at 5 p.m. But what I've been doing is pouring it over ice into this cup. And so I should be done with what's in here by 5, which is right now. So I am definitely behind today, but I'm still absolutely loving it. It's so massive. Hello everybody. Strawberry lemonade, yum. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna try to sip this a lot because I, again, am very behind and I'm trying to catch up, but not trying to go to the bathroom a million times in the middle of the night. Look at all this water. Look at everybody drinking water. We're all like, it's early in the month. We're trying to get our water in and, give it a couple more weeks and we'll all be having wine instead of water. But it's just so much water, so much water. Thank you, Nicole, for sharing your first name. I do love. If you have a YouTube name that's not your actual name, if you can let me know at some point or when you ask a question what your first name is, that way I can say your actual name instead of your YouTube name. You don't have to, but you can. More water, Diet Pepsi, Coke. Look at all these friends. Hi, friends. All right, let me know what you have questions on. So, Aviana, it does, which is why I pour it over ice into this cup, because it's also hard to drink out of, if I'm being honest, because it's so massive. So what I do is this just sits on the counter all day, and I keep this with ice in it, and I pour it from that into this over ice. So that's how I make it work. It's super, yeah. I got a couple messages recommending that what I do is only fill this up like this much with water and then freeze it overnight, and then I would have cold water all day. The problem is the freezer here is jam-packed, and there's no way that I could fit this giant thing in the freezer. There's no way that's gonna work in New York anyway, so I couldn't, that can't be my solution. So far, so good. This is working. Like I said, this just has its spot on the counter, and when this is empty, I just go fill this up, and then it just helps me know that I'm on track versus when I was trying to drink 5 of these. I guess I could come up with a system that kept me on track, but it's way easier to know if I'm on top of it. Oh my goodness, Jasmine, I hope that all of you up in New York are okay. I obviously am not there right now, but all my coworkers are, and so I've had a lot of issues today with phone calls with people being like, I have no power, so we can't talk. It's been really, really tough today. A tree fell in your husband's car. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's rough. That's super rough. Yeah, I hope he wasn't in it. He's okay. There are no humans hurt by the tree, right? Oh, Donna, it's sunny now. Okay, well, that's good. At least it stopped raining. I mean, this year has just so many things. So many things have happened. But there are still a lot of days left in the year. Sarah, any tips for making a Franken planner? I have a ton of videos on it. If you just Google, I usually call it uncoil, recoil, something along those lines. I think that Jen Plans has the best original video on uncoiling and recoiling. It's pretty long, but it's pretty detailed, and I think that's the best place to start if it's your first time. Just know that you're gonna mess up the coil a little bit. Your coil is gonna get little nicks on it, and so if that's really gonna bother you, then don't do it. But it's the part that that curls under, so it's really not that big of a deal. At least it isn't to me. It's gonna take time, but it's real. You can do it. I have total faith in you. I think it is harder than it looks. I believe in you. How are my morning pages going? Tanya, I haven't found any magic, I guess, from them. Nothing, I haven't had any major creative breakthroughs or anything like that. But what has happened a few times, and I talked about one of them in the weekly vlog, is I will write about something and then something will happen in real life that is related to what I wrote about a few days before. And so who knows if that is any correlation versus causation. Who knows if it has anything to do with it. But I do think it's good to just get everything out of my brain. To be honest with you, I am writing one page right now because it's just exhausting and time consuming, and I just don't have the time right now to write 3 pages. So I'm starting with one, and then once I feel like I can do one in a reasonable amount of time, and I'm writing more than just I didn't sleep well, I don't know what to write, then maybe I'll upgrade myself. Oh my gosh, Jasmine, he was in the car. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad he's okay. Oh. Nikki, what do you write in your morning pages? A lot of times it's I don't know what to write, or it's something random will pop into my head. I will be honest, I haven't been good about not checking my phone before I start writing in them. So a lot of times it's whatever I saw on my phone and I'm kind of reacting to it. It's kind of all over the place, to be honest. What is your number 1 tip to achieve a big goal that scares you? Carrie, that's a really great question. I have 4 or 5 things popping in my head. My number 1 tip to accomplish a big goal is to start with one small baby step. Pick, the goal is if it's big and if it scares you, what is one tiny little thing that you can start? Because I think once you get that one win, it motivates you to keep going. And if it's small enough, you can do it. It's overwhelming to look at this big, our overarching goal, right? So you have this huge overarching goal of I want to lose 50 pounds. Well, that's not going to first off happen in a day, week, month, year. So we've got to break that down to begin with. But what's one small step I can do that makes me better today than I was yesterday, that gets me closer to that goal? And let's just start with one little step at a time. I hope that answers your question. Can you recommend any resources for time blocking? Loretta, Amy Landino, it's Amy TV here on YouTube. She has a lot of videos on time blocking that I think are valuable. I'll tell you though, she's a digital planner, so you're gonna be in Google Cal if you go watch any of her videos. I think that Jordan Page does a good concept. Hers is a little bit different, the way that she does time blocking. Versus Amy. Amy is I'm going to schedule everything at a specific time, where Jordan Page is, I'm going to have these blocks of time and I want to get all these things done, and I can pick and choose kind of what order and if I actually get them done. So it's kind of 2 different schools of thought. Jordan Page also created her own planner for her system that has been sold out for months because it's for overseas and she hasn't gotten a shipment, and I am dying to get my hands on it, but it's been sold out. But those are the 2 places that I would start. I hope that helps. I need midnight pages. Heather, you could totally do it at night, before you go to bed, and just do it that way instead. Get everything out of your head before bed, instead of doing it first thing in the morning. Thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate that. For those of you that didn't see the announcement in one of the many places that I shared it, I did launch a Patreon last week that I'm very, very excited about. And all of the amazing, amazing people that have been a part of it so far. It's been so fun. So I just can't stop smiling because it's just been that great. It is linked below if you want to check it out. Oh, Loretta, thank you for saying that. You like Jordan's block schedule. Yeah, I've never been able to get it to work for me, but I don't know. Maybe once I have the planner, I'll make it work. That's a silly thought, right? Once I have the product, then it will work. That's one of those things I think we tell ourselves is once I have the perfect water bottle, I'm gonna drink all the water. Once I have this, I'm gonna do this. Like once I have the spin bike, I'm gonna get on it. Like all the things that we tell ourselves that once we have the perfect thing, object, item, we're gonna like turn into that person. So you would think that if Jordan Page, if it works for me, I can do it without the planner. But to be honest, I haven't actually like tried it that hard. Natalie, I have a million empty notebooks. What do you recommend using them for? Morning pages. Kidding, kind of. Journaling is a great one. List making is a great one. Like writing letters to somebody in your life is a great one. Just like doodling, drawing, practicing your lettering. I'm pretty sure that Kayla over at Oh Hello Living has a video on how to fill out notebooks. If I can find it, I'll link it after we're done. But if you just like Google notebook ideas, there are tons of videos on it, tons. I have a ton of empty notebooks too that I need to use. And yet I still ordered another one from Plum Paper that is on its way to me. They have like this cover of the month thing that they do, and the cover of the month, I don't know if it was July's or August. No, I must have ordered it July. Was so cute, and I had to have it, but I didn't need any of the other planners, so I ordered a notebook. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Mindy, I'm having so much trouble choosing between digital and paper planning. Why don't you do both? Can you do, I think that there's a balance, like there's joy in the balance of both. I think there's a lot of benefits to paper planning. Now, if you're talking digital, like on an iPad where you're actually writing with an Apple Pencil, that does give you some of the benefits of paper planning, which I just think it's that physical act of writing versus typing something up that makes a big difference. But, and the creativity aspect, which I have seen some beautiful digital spreads, so you can definitely get creative digitally. But like talking Google Cal, I think that there is a balance that can be found to give you the benefits of paper planning, but still use a Google Cal. You do your pages at night. Okay, Allie. You know, that's something that I would consider, doing my morning pages at night. Well, I can't call them morning pages anymore. Just because my morning routine is already so packed full of stuff, and I either, because I'm working East Coast time but living in Central time, I either have to get up very early to squeeze it all in, or I have to like cut things out. So if I upgrade to like 2 or 3 pages, maybe I will move it to the evening so that it's just, I don't know, so I don't have to deal with it in the morning. Yeah, the spin bike with no bike. You know what I mean? Like once you have the spin bike, you're going to be the person that works out. That's what I meant. I love all of your sweet comments about the Patreon group. I have been loving the group because while one of the big focuses of the Patreon is obviously my relationship with each of you and getting to know you and getting to help you with your specific goals and giving you feedback on your specific things and answering questions, I also have this vision where the Facebook group is also you helping each other and you commenting on each other's things, and y'all have done an incredible job of that so far, and it's just been like, it's blown me away, and I've been loving seeing the interactions between everybody. That's probably made me the happiest, to be honest with you, over the past few days. Have I settled on my wedding caterer yet? No, I haven't, Natalie. It's still narrowed down to those two. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll hash it out on a live reno vlog, and I'll tell you all of the pros and cons and what we're considering about the two of them, but not right now. Sorry, I'm distracted by comments. I'm not sure if they're legitimate or, I don't know, glitch games. I don't know if you're being legit nice or if you're not necessarily my target audience, so I'm not sure if you're being facetious or not. All right, I'm recently out of college. What is some advice you would give to yourself to get yourself motivated when you were fresh out of college? Oh my gosh. So if I could go talk to 21-year-old Lakin when she graduated college and moved to New York, first off, you don't need to go shopping all the time, and you don't need to eat at the most expensive restaurants and go out to eat and get all the fancy drinks. Save your money. You don't need to spend it all right now. That would be what I didn't necessarily live above my means because I was making a very good salary right out of college, but I definitely I enjoyed things that I didn't necessarily need to enjoy. In terms of motivation, I start wearing sunscreen. That's the other thing I wish I had done right when I was like 21 years old. I wish I'd worn sunscreen every day when I was walking. I wish I'd walked to the subway instead of taking the bus and gotten those steps in. It probably would have helped me not gain weight when I first moved to New York, which I did. Again, eating, drinking, all those things. I think just if you're, I don't know if you're single or if you're living alone or living with roommates, but this could be the time in your life that you get to just focus on you, that there's not somebody else in your life that you are also taking care of or also concerned about. And I would just tell myself to take advantage of that. I take a few minutes in the morning or the evening to write a few sentences. That's a good idea, Amanda. I've been doing that a little bit too in my Best Today guide. Her questions are kind of specific, but maybe when it runs out, I will just do it like that in a notebook and do it kind of first thing in the evening and then first thing in the morning. Nikki, any tips for your morning routine? Two. One is add one thing at a time. Don't try to just say, okay, here are all the things I'm gonna do in my morning routine, like right now. You're gonna get overwhelmed, it's gonna work for a few days, and then you're gonna do none of it. So you're better off adding one thing at a time and letting it get consistent for, I wanna tell you a month, but even let's say 2 weeks. If you do it every day for 2 weeks, then you get to add something else into your morning routine. And if getting up early is not the problem for you, I still wouldn't try to add a bunch of things at one time. I would just like do nothing. I would relax or read or watch TV or whatever in the morning instead of adding all these things to your morning routine. My other piece of advice is the Good Morning, Good Life book from Amy Landino. I think it's a really great book. I don't have the planner. I haven't seen it in person. I've only seen the videos of it. I know Cindy got it. But the book is really great with giving you motivation for your morning routine, giving you ideas for your morning routine, and kind of how to structure it. Alexis, I have not talked about my nail polish system yet in this video, and it will be part of next week's weekly vlog. I apologize again for no weekly vlog yesterday. My new camera arrived, so we're back on track, and I'm on a mission to make next week's extra long to make up for it, and I talk about it more there. I am loving the Dazzle Dry system, loving it. It is pricey, I'm aware, and they don't have like any kind of coupon or referral system on their website, which is kind of frustrating. I might reach out to them, see if we can get a coupon. But the Dazzle Dry system has been great. That's what I have on my nails right now. I have not tried the dip well yet. The dip makes me so nervous. I'm going to, I promise, just not yet. Oh, I lost my spot. Okay. Sarah, it is not too late to join the Patreon. It is going to be open at all times. It just kind of on a rolling join when you are able to join. And same thing with changing the levels. You can change the levels at any time as well. So just something to know. You started writing in a journal since COVID. Yeah, I kind of wish I had done that, but I didn't. Somebody mentioned to me once, and I know that this is true, that the vlogs, those are my form of journaling. What things am I excited to teach my kids that my parents didn't teach me? That's a really great question. I don't know. Do you mean left and right, like which way is left and which way is right? I struggle with left and right politically, which one's left and which one's right. I like have to literally think about it or Google it every single time. I wish my parents had taught me more about politics. Maybe that's one of the things I wish we talked about more. And gotten more involved in that and like knowing what was going on. Like when I think about it, my birthday and my age falls such that I turned 18 right after an election. So I was like almost 22 by the time I got to vote my first election. So I had done research and I'd been to college and I felt like I had experience and the ability to vote. Whereas like my sister was the opposite and she was like barely 18 when she got to vote in her first election. And I was like, she's not ready to vote. But so like I kind of wish my parents had taught me more. Elise, I am using the Golden Coil for a wellness planner. There's going to be a video coming soon. I shared the layouts that I picked on Instagram. Like I just snapped a picture when my golden coil came in the mail, but I'm gonna do a video on it soon. I wanted to kind of use it for a week or two before I filmed something, instead of just saying like, this is how I'm going to use it and set it up. I wanted to actually use it. So it started August 1st. So I'm thinking not next Friday, but the Friday after that is what I'm thinking for it. But I do want to share it with everybody. I just wanted to wait until I had used it. Hi, Kaden. Oh, Loretta, it is hard to not eat out right now. It's tough. Are you not eating out just because you're staying safe, like you're not going out to restaurants, or is it you're trying to save money? Like, could you go get pickup? Can you get half off if you just pick it up? Does that count? Is there a place for you to sit outside? I think if you can sit outside and you're 6 feet away from another table, I think it's okay. How do you find the motivation to be consistent? You know, Jasmine, I actually heard a good tip about this the other day. I don't remember where I heard it though. You have to prioritize your hobbies and your self-care. So when life gets in the way, you can't just cut it out 100%. But you have to pick which things are a priority. And the advice, I remember I heard it now, was actually specifically about your morning routine. It was from Amy Landino. It was on her podcast. I'm part of her Patreon, and for her Patreon, she does a daily podcast Monday through Friday that's like 5 minutes long, just to kind of get you going. And the advice was about your morning routine, and it's like you might have this like 2-hour morning routine that you love to do, but on days that you don't have 2 hours, what's the priority? What's your shortened version of your morning routine? And I think the same thing can apply here to your self-care. What is the shortened version of your self-care habits and your hobbies? Like what, you know, you have the ideal scenario if you have all the time in the world, you have the like average scenario when things are normal, and then you have the like rushed scenario so that you don't cut it out completely, but you're obviously life is happening, and so you can't spend as much time as you'd like to. I would challenge you to think about what your shortened version would be. Deanna, my camera broke. I mentioned it on Instagram. It fell off of the counters at my parents', which are like higher. It was the bar counter onto whatever kind of floor they had, and it broke. So I had to order a new one. Womp womp. Amanda, your son will be older. Yeah, I mean, I'm a March birthday, but like I turned 18, 4 months after that election. The power is out. Oh, so rough. This hurricane, man. Super, super tough. Yeah, money management is definitely something. I think both my parents did a good job. They're both CPAs, so they did a pretty good job with that. And then once I started my full-time job, my dad would call me like every month and be like, so what's your 401k contribution at? Can you up it? Even 1%? And he was like super encouraging on that. So I think my parents did a good job there. Politics, yeah, no. You're right, Rachel. Elections happen every year. Thank you for saying that. I was obviously talking about my first presidential election. It was once I was old enough to vote, I was away at college, and I guess again, my parents didn't teach me, and I didn't mail in a vote for the local elections every year leading up to the presidential election. That you're totally right, and I should have. I mean, I was 18. My parents probably should have taught me about it, and I will make sure that my kids it's an every year thing. It's something I do now. Now I vote every year, and every primary, and every time we can go vote. In fact, freaking New York's like there might not be a mail-in option for the election this fall. Like we might actually have to go in person, which is silly. But that's a great point. Thank you. You have to eat in to get the discount. Bummer, Loretta. Bummer. You've never heard of Amy Landino? You should definitely investigate. I am a huge fan. Huge fan. Her YouTube channel has gotten a little bit more kind of, I don't necessarily, it doesn't feel as actionable, I feel like, as it used to. It feels a lot more like I'm trying to win the algorithm game, which is kind of frustrating, but I do love her Patreon, and go watch some of her old videos, like older videos. Yeah, New York is being ridiculous. Like when people say like, if you go back to New York and get Charlie and then like go either come back here, go somewhere else and don't stay in New York. And I'm like, well, unless New York gets it together, we have to stay until November 3rd. So that's where we're at right now. How would you teach financial literacy to millennials who were not taught these literacy fundamentals? Crystal, that's a great question. The financial diet is a really great resource. Here on YouTube, they also have a podcast, but the podcast is less about like fundamentals. But that's a really great place to start. They also have a book, but their whole concept is finance for millennials. She is a millennial who lives in New York City and started a YouTube channel and then grew into a business to teach millennials about money. So I think that's a great place to start. And then you can find some other people from her. One is called the Broke Millennial. She's also really great. I've used a lot of her resources, like her blog and whatnot, to learn from. So that would be my place to start. I'm not drinking my water, y'all. This is not working. Thanks, Amanda. I don't know where we're gonna end up. You guys, that sounds so silly, but like, I don't want to live in a shoebox if I'm spending 90% more than that. I mean, right now we're spending 100% of our time at home, unless you count walking a mile to the beach. Like, we're spending 100% of our time at home. Even if we were in a place where we were spending 95% of our time at home and all we were doing was going to like the park to sit with friends, like, I don't want to pay New York prices for that. Like, it sucks. If I'm not enjoying the part of New York that I love, why am I paying so much to live there? Like, even the electricity is absurd. I have left my fridge. Obviously, that's the only thing I left plugged in back in New York. I unplugged everything else in the house and just the fridge, and our electric bill has been $50 each month, June and July. And I'm like, what? It's just super, super frustrating. Quantitative literacy. Ooh, that's cool. No mail-in voting for Texas either. Yeah. Yep. Like, oh, what the heck? Did I turn the breakers off? Amanda, I can't turn the breakers off because I live in an apartment building. So I have no control over that. My dad warned me that there's still a base, right? I probably have to pay $30 a month anyways, regardless of what's plugged in. That's just like the fee to be a part of the system in my apartment to have electricity. And then my fridge is probably like $20 a month. So he was like, because I was like, all we left was like a few things in the freezer and like condiments. I would have thrown all that out and unplugged the fridge if I had known it was going to save me $150 over the summer. And he was like, well, it wouldn't have saved you $150 and would have been a mess. So like, it's a good thing that you didn't do that. But it is annoying to pay $150 just to leave condiments and a few things in my freezer. Yeah. Dave Ramsey is a good resource for budgeting. I'm not going to go into it here, but there are a few things that I don't necessarily agree with him on. The few things that I think are great and a few things that I kind of am about. So I can't like fully recommend him. And I also don't necessarily think he's the best resource for millennials because it's just kind of, I don't know, it's tough. Yeah, New York prices are ridiculous. It's insane how much not even just rent. I mean, rent is a big piece of it, especially for what you get for your money. But even everything else in New York is just expensive. It's just tough. You found New York relatively cheap as a tourist. Loretta, that's because London is just as expensive as New York. I found it very comparable. When we went to London, like the city is very comparable to New York. The prices for stuff that we were paying for restaurants and we rented an apartment for a week, like all of the costs to things, I found very comparable to New York. So I think that's probably why. Drinking my water. Trying to drink my water. You need a budget. Our parents don't understand that things are the same anymore. They get upset because we say it's hard to save. Yeah, it's tough. it's different. It's just different the way that things are now, especially in New York, than it was then. You need a budget. I've actually never tried that, but I appreciate the recommendations for those people that are looking for them. It's expensive. Oh, it's not free. That's kind of tough for budgeting. I feel like you kind of want a free resource. It's pretty, like, that can be tough. How would you tell your 18-year-old self to stay motivated if you were a senior in high school dealing with virtual schooling and during COVID? Oh, Allie, that's really hard because I am obviously an extrovert and I don't know if that's obvious. I am an extrovert because I know a lot of people online like can do this even though they're super introverted. I am an extrovert and I love to be with people and I get a lot of energy from being with other people. So virtual school would have been super tough for me. I am a motivated person, but I also I need the energy. I craved those 5 minutes in between classes to get to chat with my friends. So I think not necessarily how to stay motivated. I would ask myself, what can I do to mimic the experience? And I think the same is true from me working from home. Like I've had to schedule 15-minute coffee chats with the girl whose cube is next to mine. Because if I don't do that, I don't feel like I'm caught up on her life and it feels weird because we would chat every single morning. How are you doing? She was also planning a wedding. She has postponed hers indefinitely. But we just caught up every day and I don't get that anymore. So I think I would ask myself, what are the things about in-person school that I really love? And how can I maybe try to recreate some of that at home? So can you have a 5-minute passing period call with your friend to just chat about life? Can you have a lunch hour Zoom with your friends? How can you make it feel a little bit more like normal? I hope that helps. I struggle with my AM and PM routine. Mind sharing what is included in yours? So Shauna, I'll start with the PM routine because it's really nothing. My PM routine right now is wash my face, brush my teeth, floss my teeth, and charge my Apple Watch is my new thing because I've been tracking my sleep. Whoever messaged me, I could not find the message about the sleep app. Love it. I love it. So I charge my watch in the evenings now before I go to bed. That's my evening routine. It's very simple. I need to add a couple things to it, like setting up my planner for the next day, but right now we're keeping it very, very, very basic. My morning routine is pretty detailed at this point. I've expanded it a lot. I am using an app called Routine Meister that's got my whole morning routine listed out, and I wish I could just grab my phone and read it to you. I screenshot it on Instagram the other day. So basically, I get up, I wash my face, I put some moisturizer on, I put sunscreen on, come downstairs, fill up my water. My morning pages are first, then I read the Daily Stoic, then I do my 5-year journal gratitude. I also just did a day in the life, which has my whole morning routine in it as well. So you can also go watch that. My daily gratitude, and then I do my I am statements. I started a doodle challenge because I have the space in my plum paper planner. And then I read for 20 minutes, and then I've been trying to go for a walk because it's the only time I'll get outside because it's just so hot the rest of the day. And then I come home and I eat breakfast, and to be honest, I haven't been showering before work, which sounds a little bit gross, but it's a leisurely walk. I'm not really getting that sweaty because then I'm trying to work out right after work. So I've been trying this thing where I stay in my workout clothes not today, obviously, because I have this, but I stay in my workout clothes from the morning until I work out after work to keep me motivated. I hope that was helpful. Thanks, Amanda. Enjoy your tacos. How do you establish a morning routine with a busy scheduled day? Crystal, I think you just need to start with being really honest with yourself about how much time you have for your morning routine. So do you have mine is 2.5 hours, but that's because I have that time because I get up at 5:30 and I work at 8 and I don't have anybody else to answer to except for me. So be realistic. Do you have an hour? Do you have 30 minutes? Do you have 45? Like, how much time do you have? And then break it down and start prioritizing with what you want to squeeze in. Like, if I had to cut things, like, I could cut them, and I would prioritize the things that I want to prioritize. Oh, it's okay. Interesting. Maybe I'll check into You Need a Budget. I like my Excel budgeting tool that I created myself. I freaking love it. Did I take psychology in school? I did not, Jasmine. I think it's just like experience. Like, that sounds silly because sometimes we've talked about imposter syndrome before, and it's something I definitely want to touch on with Patreon. I think sometimes I feel like I don't have experience because I'm young. How can I have this much experience? But like, I do have experience. When you asked a question, when Allie asked me about being an 18-year-old, like, I was an 18-year-old and I went to high school, so I can have an experience. So I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. Oh, good, Allie. I'm glad that it was for your daughter, and I hope that you pass that along. Amanda, I had somebody else ask me that question. I don't know if it's available for Android. Sorry. I have an iPhone, so that's where I found it. I am all caught up. I'm gonna drink some of my water. Actually, I'm getting pretty close. There's a lot of ice in here because I like to keep it super, super, super cold. I'd love to hear about your experience as a woman that chose mathematics in college. You know, in high school, I was very much the minority. And I went to a big high school. My graduating class was 1,200, and I was in I was a math major, so I was in like high level math. I was 2 years ahead in high school. So my senior year, I was taking Calc 3 through like a college program. And so there was only one class of it at my school with like 30 kids or whatever. And there was probably like 5 women. Super, super like male dominated. But what's funny is that like all those guys went on to major in like engineering or like pre-med. And very few of them actually went on to major in math. And then when I got to college, it was not male dominated at all. It was pretty even split in my math classes between men and women, which was great. So I didn't really feel that in college, and then even working, I don't feel that at New York Life. Like it's pretty balanced, especially on the actuarial side. So I don't know if I don't know if any of my experiences majoring in math have anything to do with like aligning with being a woman, because it felt pretty even, to be honest with you. Minus the fact that the head of our department was a man at UT, the head of the math department. But there was also a female actuarial teacher who wrote a book that was used to study for an actuarial exam. So like, I always thought of her as like a badass, and so I kind of just like looked up to her. Even though she wasn't the head of the department, I was like, she's the woman badass that I'm gonna look up to. Look at all these math majors. Catherine, I secretly wish that my school had a math team. Like when I watch Mean Girls, I get super jealous. Super, super jealous. Yes, Linda, definitely something. I mean, my parents did teach me about 401ks. And actually super funny, but when my family was here a few weeks ago, we had like a conversation about saving for retirement. One like Sunday morning, we were all sitting in the living room. I don't even know how it came up, but it was like with my younger brothers one is in high school and then the 2 in middle school. It was crazy. I don't know if they're still here listening. I don't even remember how it came up, which one of you brought it up, and why we ended up having a 30-minute conversation about retirement savings on a Sunday morning as a family. But we did. So, yeah, Kaden, do you remember how that conversation came up? Like, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden we were talking about how to save for retirement. And it was like, I don't know. It was insane. I think it was super helpful. I hope you guys learned something and retained something. But it was funny. All right, I am all caught up. Any last minute questions you guys have? This was fun. Super morning routine heavy. I don't remember, but it was hardcore. It was hardcore. You're 11. You don't need to start talking about retirement planning. But again, I guess like we've talked about, talking about it with your kids young is it's helpful. I mean, they're gonna remember, or they're at least gonna have a thought when it comes to figuring it out. But all right, let me know down in the comments, what is one thing that you are doing this week to help you make progress on your goals? For me, it's gonna be filling this cup up with water, hopefully without spilling it on myself, while you guys comment, and then I'll come back and read them. I usually do this with 2 hands, so doing it with 1 hand is super dangerous. Okay, so now where am I at? Oh. Okay, so now I'm at, again, I'm at like almost 6 o'clock. So again, I should have had this all gone and I should drink it, but. Photos, Lakin, have I done this? Linda, I'm not sure what you're asking. Completing daily tasks day of, moving your desk, using an alarm clock instead of your phone, Katie. That's a good one. Did you buy an alarm clock? Finish your ginormous water bottle. Yep. Water and laundry, tracking calories and exercise. Rachel, that's a good one. Using your power sheets, checking in with my power sheets. Look at all the power sheets. Scheduled all your workouts for the week, tidying the house every day. Gabby, that's a huge one. I think it makes such a difference when I tidy every day. Working on your goals, decluttering. Yep, Nikki, we've talked about that. Starting power sheets for the first time, Caitlin, that's exciting. 500 a day. Oh, Linda. Oh, Linda. Video coming about goals on Friday. You'll see about the photos. You'll, yeah. Well, let's just say, no, it's not happening. Yes, oh my gosh, your outside work break. Ugh, makes such a difference. Such a difference. I love it, Nicole. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. If you haven't signed up for the Patreon, you can go check it out in the link below for more information. It is not too late to sign up. Before you head out, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button. You guys are the best. Happy planning.